Let's talk about jealousy, the emotion that everyone loves to pretend that they've evolved past. Now, you can be the most self-aware, non-monogamy affirming, securely attached human alive and still get punched in the gut when your partner is getting ready for a date with somebody else. It is normal, it is human, and it doesn't mean your relationship is broken or non-monogamy is not working. And today, we're gonna talk about how to stop treating jealousy like the villain and start seeing it for what it actually is, which is information. Before that though, hi there, I'm Lauren Consul. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified sex therapist here to help you have better sex and relationships. Now, jealousy gets a bad rap, but it's not there simply to torture you. It is there to tell you, hey, something that matters to me feels threatened. Now, that threat might be real or it might be your nervous system responding to old wounds, but either way, it's data, it's information. It is saying, pay attention. So here's the reframe that can be helpful. Jealousy isn't something to fix or hide. It is something to listen to, because underneath jealousy, there is almost always something else, a deeper need, a fear, or an old wound that's waking up. So instead of, how do I get rid of this feeling? Because all of our feelings have a purpose, the question becomes, what is this feeling trying to show me? When jealousy hits, pause before reacting and ask yourself these 3 questions, which can change everything. The first question is there something I'm wanting more of in this relationship? Now, maybe you haven't had as much quality time with your partner lately, so when you see them getting ready for a date with someone new, it stings. And it's not because of the other person, but because you're missing something, you're not feeling as connected. And so that's the thing to address, is the connection with your partner. The second question is there something I'm struggling with about myself that needs to be addressed? For example, maybe their new partner has a more flexible schedule so they can meet with them more, they have more freedom, and you're realizing how trapped or overworked or overwhelmed you're feeling in your life. That's not about the other person. Again, that's about you realizing my life needs some adjustment. I'm feeling imbalanced, and that's what actually needs to be addressed. The third question is this an old wound that's being poked? For example, it could be a fear of not being enough, or a childhood memory or experience or trauma, or maybe you have anxious attachment style and that's getting flared up. And that's what needs to be addressed, not the other person or people or what's going on, but you need to do some inner work on that wound. So when you start asking these 3 questions, jealousy stops being a monster or about the other person. You can start to understand what's underneath it and address the actual thing, rather than being up here in the content of like, well, you can do this or I shouldn't do this. And that's not actually going to work because we're not addressing the real thing. We need to get underneath. And that's what these 3 questions are meant to do, is to help you get underneath what's really going on with this jealousy. Now, when jealousy shows up, your instinct might be to get defensive, to analyze your partner's new person or people, or compare yourself, or to spiral. Instead, what we want to do is slow down, acknowledge it, even if it's uncomfortable, saying, okay, I'm feeling jealous. Name it. Then remind yourself, jealousy is a normal human emotion. It is not proof that I am broken, that I'm failing at non-monogamy, that anything is wrong with me. It is a normal emotion that is information that I need to pay attention to. So you want to meet it with curiosity instead of shame, because curiosity says, what is this trying to tell me? What do I need to understand? What actually needs to be addressed? Shame says, I shouldn't feel this way. I'm bad for feeling this way. There's something wrong with me. And only one of those really creates connection. That curiosity invites your partner or partners in, rather than shame, which kind of keeps you in your own bubble. Now, once you've reflected on the jealousy, you've named it, you've identified it, you're understanding more of what's going on because you've asked yourself those 3 questions, it's time to bring it to your partner. And again, the goal is connection, not defensiveness. So you want to really own your feelings, not come attacking your partner, owning that you're feeling jealous and what's going on underneath. So you might start with, I want to share something vulnerable. I've been feeling jealous and I think I understand what's underneath it, but it's really hard still for me to talk about. Are you in a space to hear it right now? Now that statement does 2 things. It signals vulnerability. So it primes your partner's brain to say, okay, this is something that my partner feels vulnerable about. I need to show up for them in a certain way. And it also gives your partner choice by saying, are you in a space to talk about this right now? Where they can opt in or plan for a different time so you guys can be set up for success, right? So you're not blaming, you are inviting. Then you really want to focus on using I statements, communicating what you're feeling and owning it. I realize I've been missing our connection and I'm struggling with that. I know we've both been busy, and what I would love is for us to plan a date night that's just us, no logistics talk, no phone, just so we can connect. And I think that would be really helpful for me. That's collaboration. If jealousy comes up often in your relationship, you're going to want to work with it in a little bit of a different way, because some people are going to have a baseline of being more prone to jealousy. That's not necessarily a flaw. We all have different baselines where different emotions show up more easily than others. So you want to find a way to work with it. Again, not going into shame of like, you shouldn't deal with that or you shouldn't have that, and figuring out how do we work with this, because this is in our system. So this might look like regular check-ins, weekly, monthly, or whatever works, to talk about what's coming up, to address it, going to therapy or doing relationship therapy. You really want to keep the channel open and in a non-shaming, non-judgmental way, but saying this is part of our system, this is part of the relationship, so how do we work with it? Because jealousy itself isn't the red flag, it's how you handle it, how it manifests, and what you do with it that can be the red flag. Jealousy is not here to destroy your relationships. It's here to show you where you need healing, reassurance, growth, or connection. And when you meet it with that curiosity instead of shame, you turn it from an obstacle into an opportunity. Now, if this hits home, be sure to share it with someone who's navigating open relationships or someone who's human enough to admit that they get jealous. And if you want more videos on sex and desire and connection that actually work in the real world, be sure to hit subscribe and let me know what questions you have in the comments below.